there's enough space for everybody in the industry, but there's also somebody better than you that can sell more tickets than you in every case.
And I think of it like the NBA kind of. It's like you could be like the top center on this team like right now, but at that moment in time, there are 30 kids that are 5 years younger than you that are 7 feet tall that are coming
Yeah.
to, take your spot in a few years. And it's like, it's like the Tiestos, they're like the LeBrons that have kind of maintained themselves
Yeah.
the whole time. And it's like, I think I like that though, because the competitiveness for me, like a lot of people talk about, especially on social media, not comparing and things like that. But I like the competitiveness of the space because it's like a big motivating factor for me. It's like if I don't work hard and you know um make things that people can connect to and relate to, it's like I'll be out of here soon, and I don't want that. So I think it can be a big motivator.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I don't work like that. I think
Yeah,
I'm very fucking competitive, but to myself. And there's like a few artists that I'm like, why the fuck are they getting that? Like brutally honest, like why? Like that is not good. And but then I also have to take my ego out of it and go, people, there's demand. So if there's
yeah,
demand, then they're clearly way more demand than me. Then it's a sick. It's not jealousy. It's more like envious, really. But that competitive, but also I can't compare myself to that person because I'm not trying to be that person. I'm not trying to make that music. I'm not trying to do the shows where they're doing the shows. I'm trying to do my own thing. So it's like I understand what you're saying, the competitiveness, because it's like I want to be the fucking best in the world, but I can't compete against anybody else. For me, in my view, I can't compete against you. I don't make West End music. Like and I never will because I could never do it, if you know what I mean.
I agree with you 100% because I think that once you start comparing, that is like the thief of joy, right? And it just makes everything worse, right? Like your art will become worse,
Yeah.
your vibe, everything like that. For me, it's like I know how competitive the landscape is in a sense of that, like, it is a reality. It's like there's this many slots at a festival, right? And
Yes,
you want the
totally.
best for yourself. You
Totally.
want like you know there is a hierarchy to these things. And so I think what you said before about competing against yourself is like knowing that that's the case. And like, if you are the kind of person that really wants to drive yourself, it's like working, improving yourself and
Yeah.
getting, working harder than you did before to reach your goals, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, and it's, yeah, I think it's not like a pretty thing to think about because ideally everyone wins and everyone does everything together and we
Yeah.
all have
Yeah.
space and whatever. But that's just like the unfortunate situation is like, clubs are only open Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And so there's a limit on who's coming into those clubs and when and all these things. And so um I don't know. I think you just need a healthy balance. For me, that's how I like it.
I guess my question to that though, or my counter to that is you're 100% right. Like there are only a certain amount of lineups you can get on. But what if what you're writing musically is never going to get you to that level? As of I I'm not saying for me for example, but like if you wanted to be the biggest DJ in the world or the biggest producer, whatever, but you're only writing like super like underground shit, or you're not writing records that like are gonna fit to that sound, do you then go, I have to change my sound and then I have to go and make what everyone else is making? Or do you go, well, I'm just gonna stick to what I'm making and just keep growing and growing and growing? What would you do in that situation? Because like we're in a very commercial situation, right? Like you and I, like kind of sides apart. We're in the same stratosphere of like we can play festivals and we can do that. And but like for like a new artist coming through is like they can look at us and go, I want to be doing what West End or Will Clarke is, or even bigger, like I want to be doing what Fish is. I want to be doing what John Summit is. But like, if they go and make John Summit music, if they go and make West End music, if they go and make Will Clarke music, if they go and make Fisher music, they're not going to be as big as Fish. They're not going to be as big as John. They're not going to be as big as us. So it's like, how do you kind of balance that?
It's interesting. I think it is the balance always. But it's usually the people that like come to the top aren't the people that are like you just said, like if you want to be playing the peak time slot at the main stage at EDC, right?
Mm,
You're not going to get there by seeing who's doing that now and kind of copying them. I think it's actually more about the people than it is about the music. I think people that are really successful in this industry, it's more about the really, really successful ones. The reason why they're there is the music has to be really, really fucking good, but it's more
yeah,
about who they are as a person, which is a totally separate conversation and story. Um, but yeah, going back to, I would never make something that I don't like to try to get somewhere, because
yeah,
at the end of the day, it's just gonna feel like icky,
yeah, yeah,
and like it just doesn't for me feel like me, so I think it's all about like the context of like what your space is, right? Like I
mm,
don't want to be on the main stage of EDC playing to all those people at peak time. Like that's not
yeah,
my personal goals. Like that's not the stage I want to be on. I've been on stages like that in like other settings, and I've been like, oh, I really don't like this at all.
mm,
I don't like being on festivals that are like super, I mean, it depends, but like very like multi-genre festivals where you feel like the people don't really understand the music.
yeah,
I hate playing frat parties because it's like I do it a lot, but like the kids don't give a shit about electronic music. They just want to party, right?
yeah,
So I think there are like cases where you have to just like know what you want. Um, and yeah, a lot of it now is it's less about the music. It's more about how you present yourself. Like take someone like Fred again. Like his music doesn't scream like, if you heard it a few years ago, it doesn't scream like sell out the shrine 3 nights in a row type situation. But
yeah,
um, he was able to like really connect with people over the pandemic, and in the way he kind of presented his music
yeah,
on social media, and it's fucking really good music. Whether then now that is the case, someone like Millennium's music, I don't think like it, like to me, it doesn't make sense for that kind of like main stage thing, but he has so many fans because he's been doing it so long and kind of got there. So if
mm.
I had the answer, I feel like that's like the magic question, right? There is no formula to like how you make a really successful act like that, but
There isn't that, and
there's
I
not.
think a lot of it's luck,
Huge amount of it is luck.
luck and timing.
Right place, right time.
Yeah,
That's what I think it is.
and
Like
and
for me,
go on, carry on.
so I was just gonna say quickly, like part of the reason why I think I've had a good year in the last 2 years has been timing. So
Mm,
I've been making like house oriented music for the last like 6 years. Like I used to make stuff. I got into making house music in like 2016. So
yeah,
I pretty much had like 4 years of like production, making house music, and then tech house, specifically the kind that I make, gets really popular with people
yeah,
like John and Chris Lake right at this time where I already am like making it. I'm good at making it. I know a lot of people that are doing it,
yeah, yeah,
and got lucky.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree. It was the same with me with Dirty Bird. Really, like it. That's how it started, really, for me. But but mine was more like a strategic thing, whereas like I know I need to be part of something. So what do I need to do to be part of it, and then go from there. I I still love the music, but it was just like what do I need to do to get to the next level, if that makes sense.